Coming up, the snow is melting and with it could come flooding. We will have the latest. Plus, an exhibit dedicated to the art of a Holocaust victim. The news starts now.
You're watching NAZ Today, Northern Arizona's local news.
Good evening and welcome to NAZ Today. I'm Matt Keenitz.
And I'm Michael Manny. Thanks for tuning in.
Spring weather is starting to show in Flagstaff. However, with these warmer skies come some consequences.
That's right, and due to the amount of snowfall and the sudden high temperatures, the Flagstaff area has a flood advisory from the National Weather Service. Tori Smith is live in the studio with more information.
Yeah, so like both of you just said, we're seeing a flood advisory here in Flagstaff, and it's going to be prevalent until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Now, the areas affected are going to be lower level areas, including dry washes that we normally see dry, especially the Rio de Flag, and interstates along the area. These interstates could include Route 66 as well as I-40 east and westbound. Especially if you're going westbound, those fields fill up with water, and if they get over that highway and you hit that at 75 miles an hour, that could be very deadly. So you're going to want to slow down if you see that or take an alternate route. This is also filling up the Colorado River currently, and that's very good for our lakes as well as our rivers. However, that water is rushing through here in northern Arizona, creating some deadly impacts for the environment. But that's all we have on weather right now. We'll have more later on, but back to you guys on desk.
The work of Gino Perrine is his legacy. The artist died in the Holocaust, and his work is on display in NAU's Clara M. Levitt Museum. The exhibit is called A Complicated Life in Complicated Times. When Bjorn Kronderfer and his colleagues began researching this exhibit, they did not anticipate the complexity of both the art and the artist.
When we started, we had absolutely no idea where it will go. We didn't know what we find. We didn't know whether it was a story that can be told that might be of wider interest. And then over time, it turned out it was so much more complicated and complex than we ever imagined.
As an Italian Jewish man who converted to Catholicism in his 20s, Perrine was taken to Bergen-Belsen, a concentration camp in Germany where he later died due to health complications.
Gino Perrine was a person on the margins who was affected by the anti-Semitism in Italy and then by the anti-Semitic racism of Nazi Germany, and becomes a victim of the Holocaust just as other people were, but in a very different way. And we often don't think about people who were not in the center of the Holocaust, but whose lives were affected nevertheless.
This exhibit features an accompanying podcast that goes more in depth about the art on display.
In this series, we encounter a life full of nuance and complications during the upheavals of the early 20th century.
As for his work's relationship to Flagstaff, Perrine's paintings were given to a relative who lives in Cottonwood. These pieces will be on display until April 28th.
What I would hope for students and the community to take out of it is to see for themselves how exciting it is to take one little part of history and explore it more fully and see the complexity and ambiguities of life.
The museum is open 12 to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday and is free to attend.
The Continental Golf Course community is dealing with a nuisance animal normally seen in the desert. NAZ Today's Richard Espinoza reports.
Javelinas were first discovered in northern Arizona in 1974 and have become common during the 1980s. Since then, javelinas have increased in numbers. Today, I spoke with Arizona Game and Fish Warden Larry Phoenix to discuss the current situation with javelinas as they're causing nuisance problems in local Flagstaff neighborhoods.
In the last 3 months, we've had a herd of javelina, specifically 2 large males that have been more habituated to humans, and they haven't attacked anybody, but they have been chasing people through the neighborhoods.
Phoenix says this is because the residents at the country club have been feeding the javelinas, which is a crime in the state of Arizona. Right now, Game and Fish is working to capture and relocate these animals away from areas close to people. Phoenix says there has been no cases of javelinas biting people in Flagstaff, but this does happen elsewhere in Arizona, usually because people are feeding them or when the javelinas are defending themselves against dogs.
So in many cases, because so many people have dogs walking dogs in the neighborhoods, that the javelina, especially these two males, have been a little bit more aggressive.
In order to protect yourself, Phoenix says do not engage with these animals and keep a good distance.
The best thing for them to do is to actually call our 1-800 number. It's a 24-hour number. It goes to our dispatch. It's 1-800-352-0700.
So if you see something, say something, or make sure to keep your pets safe. Richard Espinoza, NAZ Today.
Some say literature is a cornerstone of the Northern Arizona community, and many locations around Flagstaff are available to help aspiring and experienced writers. NAZ Today's Michaela Richardson has more.
Earlier this month, the Northern Arizona Book Festival celebrated local authors at many events here at the Northern Arizona Local Library. Even though the festival is over, there are still many resources in Flagstaff that allow authors to hone their skills.
Literary arts are a staple in the Northern Arizona community, and many locations around Flagstaff offer writing groups for aspiring and successful authors year-round.
It usually depends on the writing group, but almost all of them are just people who like to write, but it's usually you come together and you either just kind of write together, camaraderie, or you give each other samples of your work and critique it so that it makes it better.
Corcoran says having others provide input can be a big help in the writing process.
When you're in your head, it's so hard to tell, if this is working, if it's confusing or not, how it sounds out loud. Things that might make sense to you might not make sense to other people. Just putting it out there really does help you kind of work through those problems and make it the best product it can be.
She says the library hopes these groups will serve as a reminder to residents that they are still open, despite the current construction.
Some people still do not know that we are open. And even if you do know that we're open, it's hard to find parking because half of our parking lot is under construction. The reason we're doing our front entrance is to create more easy access.
The library is not the only organization that offers writing groups. Kristen Hutchinson hosts sessions at the Museum of Northern Arizona.
There are phases of writing that are done alone, but the process of writing really is good in community with other writers.
She says the museum hopes to encourage people to tell their stories.
We are here to interpret the Colorado Plateau, and we do that all the time through writing, and reading about things is another way to understand them. And every one of us who lives here on the Colorado Plateau has an experience with this place with our lives being here that is worthy of exploring.
For more information on both groups, visit flagstaffpubliclibrary.org or musnaz.org. Michaela Richardson, NAZ Today.
Coming up on 3 decades of play-by-play for Northern Arizona University athletics, NAU TV General Manager Mitch Stroman has been coined as the voice of the Lumberjacks. Sports reporter Lindsay Ridgway caught up with Stroman at the end of this basketball season.
Here's the baseball pass, high up into the air. It's caught! Oh my goodness! I can't believe what I just saw!
Stroman came to Flagstaff after a stint working in Lake Havasu City to work at CAF Radio as their news and sports director, then switching to play-by-play in the early 90s.
And in 1991, I called my very first NAU football game, and then from there transitioned into basketball. And then after that, I made the move into the radio role as the voice of the Lumberjacks a couple of years later.
While not a Northern Arizona University alumni, Stroman says the community of fans and support during his time in Flagstaff has made him feel like a true Lumberjack.
It's one of the best feelings I can ever describe to have. It's been something that has been so much fun for me for over 30 years. It's been gratifying and humbling to be a part of a university's athletic department and sports broadcasting for that long. It's a passion that is never quenched for me, and to be called the voice of the Lumberjacks is just one of the greatest feelings that I can possibly ever imagine having.
Along with almost 30 years of being play-by-play for the Lumberjacks football and men's basketball teams, Stroman is also the NAU TV general manager and the star of a former local cooking show, What's Cooking with Mitch.
People like seeing local chefs and me all thumbs in the kitchen, producing this great food. We have a lot of fun doing it, and it's been a show that has always been in demand, and people keep asking, when are you going to do more What's Cookings? And the answer is maybe soon. We're looking at it. I might want to get myself back in the kitchen.
Lindsay Ridgway, NAZ Today.
Coming up, a toxic recycling plant fire causes evacuations in Indiana. Stay with us.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education. So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
How prepared is your family if a wildfire shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or an earthquake? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Welcome back. Schools will be closed again on Thursday in Richmond, Indiana, as a massive fire at a recycling plant continues to burn.
That's right, and the smoke plume is enormous and toxic, according to the state fire marshal. CNN's Omar Jimenez reports.
Well, I've always said that place is going to go up in flames one day, and it sure did.
This massive fire at a large recycling plant putting out toxic smoke could burn for days. Officials say 14 acres of plastics stored on the property. But with this site especially, it wasn't a matter of if, but when, with city officials aware the operations were a fire hazard.
The issue was a unsafe building and unsafe grounds.
And putting the blame squarely on an owner of the recycling plant.
That business owner is fully responsible for all of this. We have the unsafe building order and the recorded court documents, and everything that's ensued here, the fire, the damages, the risk that our first responders have taken and the risk the citizens are under are the responsibility of that negligent business owner.
An evacuation order is in place for a half-mile radius. Around 2,000 residents ordered to evacuate, including one who lives at the heart of it.
I can see from the debris that some of it was on fire, and it hit the trees, the tree line, and the trees immediately ignited.
When she got the evacuation order, she didn't hesitate to leave her home.
And when they said evacuate, I didn't have shoes on, I had socks on, and I left my purse, my shoes, I left a lot of things, personal things, at the house and just got in the car and drove away.
For health officials, their key concern now is hazards from the smoke.
These are very fine particles, and if they're breathed in, can cause all kinds of respiratory problems. Burning of the eyes, tightening of the chest. It could aggravate asthma, it could cause bronchitis and all kinds of things.
The EPA monitoring particulate matter, looking for toxic chemicals. Residents are being told to stay indoors, but the uncertainty is causing concerns and frustrations.
It's hard to say what's going into the city air right now.
We would like to know that it is safe to be able to breathe the air and to drink the water. So we want to hear from the officials.
I just found out my work party is a +1. You want to go? This is my boss, Ella.
Nice to meet you, Greg.
You're welcome. Nope, I'm high. But I'll clean the kitchen while you're gone.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? I'm toasted.
Nope, I'm high. But I can order us a ride.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
I'm high.
Oh.
I'm Rudy Tempesta. I'm 92 years old. I fought in World War II. Then I came home, worked for the post office for 70 years. I've been getting Meals on Wheels, and I enjoy it. The most important thing about Meals on Wheels is you meet the people, which to me is fantastic. You need people to keep your brain moving. That's what life is about. It's love and having a conversation with people.
Welcome back to NAZ Today. My name is Tori Smith, here to bring you weather on this once again beautiful yet windy and dusty Wednesday evening. Now today we have a temperature currently of 63 degrees, clear skies right now, but we're seeing some clouds move in currently, 29.93 barometric pressure reading right now, and 20% relative humidity. So not too much going on in the humidity realm of weather, but our wind is picking up at southwest of 25 miles per hour. And we're seeing that wind move in here throughout northern Arizona, and especially in this area, we're going to see a lot of dust pick up throughout the rest of the evening as well. 66 was your high for today. Low going to drop down to 35 degrees. We're pretty on average for this time of year in that temperature realm, and thankfully not in the 7-degree weather anymore. Moving into spring and summer finally. No precipitation for today, but since January 1st, we're still way above our average total, and sunrises and sunsets are getting later as well. Now, high temperatures across the day the state today were relatively warm, especially down in Phoenix. A warm and toasty 90 degrees. In Las Vegas, 83 degrees. Kingman, 76, and Winslow, 87 degrees. We're seeing lots of 80 temperatures around here, and then in the northern areas, about 70s and 60s. Now, tonight here in Flagstaff, we're going to drop to a low of 35 degrees, patchy blowing dust, and then partially cloudy. Now, this dust is picking up and going to just blind the roads for a little bit, especially if you're driving a big rig. You're going to want to drive safe and drive slow, because that could definitely tip over if those winds got strong enough. Now, sunset will be at 6:56 for you tonight. And looking at tomorrow, 56 degrees, another beautiful day, but as well patchy dust throughout the evening as well. and a sunrise of 5:57, sunset 6:57 for you. Pretty identical there, just 1 hour off. Now, forecast temperatures across the state for today. Looking warm once again, 69 over in Kingman. Lake Havasu sitting pretty at 79 degrees. Another toasty day down in the valley, 81 degrees, 62 degrees in Show Low, and 68 up in Tuba City. But taking one last look here in Flagstaff, it's going to be getting a little bit colder just on Friday and then warming up throughout the rest of the week, just like the conditions that we had last week. I'd say spring is here and we're kind of moving into those summer temperatures as well. So Thursday, 56 degrees, going to be windy and patchy dust blowing around. 55 degrees on Friday, Saturday 60 degrees, and then going to bump up to 66 degrees on both Sunday and Monday. Those nighttime temperatures are getting warmer as well, just a little dip in the temperatures on Friday, and then once again warming up to 37 degrees on Sunday and Monday. Now that's all we have for weather for you tonight, but definitely check out Sports with Lindsay Ridgway after the break.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We had this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
Heard about the scarecrow who won an award? He was outstanding in his field.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Staring contest.
You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to NAZ Today. My name is Lindsay Ridgway, and I will be bringing you your sports coverage for the night. Now, starting off with Northern Arizona University athletics, NAU women's golf placed 4th yesterday at the Bobcat Desert Classic in Goodyear, Arizona. The Jacks finished 4th overall with a team score of 896, led the way by Ellen Slater and Lizzie Neal, who both finished in the top 10. Switching to high school athletics, last night Coconino varsity softball beat Lee Williams 16-0 after 4 innings. The Panthers were hot from the start, leading by 3 runs in the first inning, then by 8 heading into the 4th. In that 4th and final inning, they scored a total of 8 runs, securing the win in a mercy ruling. Looking ahead to later this week and weekend, NPA, Coconino, and Flagstaff girls tennis all have home matches tomorrow at 3 p.m., as well as Coconino baseball when they take on Lee Williams at 4 p.m. On Friday, KJAC Sports will have the call for Flagstaff High baseball versus Bradshaw Mountain. You can listen to that, on KJAC Radio on 107.1 FM. On the collegiate side, NAU track and field is on the road this week at both Azusa Pacific and Long Beach State. And finally, NAU men's tennis is home all weekend for their last home matches of the season. And that's all I have for you this weekend for Northern Arizona sports. Stay tuned after the break for your weather recap with Tori Smith.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised.
Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
The odds of this boy achieving his dream in fashion? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore. So you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Welcome back to NAZ Today, you guys. Let's take one last look at your weekend weather recap. So 56 degrees on Thursday, going to dip down just on Friday to 55 degrees and then warm up for a beautiful weekend of 66 degrees on Sunday.
Thanks, Tori. Well, we will not be having any shows next week because we are going to a conference in Las Vegas. Our news, weather, and sports directors will be going to collect the first place BEA award for Best Student-Produced News Broadcast 3 days a week or less for our coverage of the tunnel fire last April. We have won this award before and are excited to have received it again.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight, but be sure to follow us on social media and have a good night, everybody.